When we come back, every Monday we set aside a little bit of time. We call it the Survivalist. Stefan Verstappen is an emergency preparedness expert. He's the author of The Art of Urban Survival. We've been talking about how to store clean drinking water, how to store food, how to form communities. Today, we're going to discuss neighborhood watch programs. I know you've all seen the signs. Do they still do that? They used to have the signs in people's living room windows. You would see, this is a neighborhood watch home. Do they still do that? I don't know. I don't see. Declan is saying yes. Well, it's time to bring that back. The neighborhood watch program. I'm not sure if the one that we were familiar with is the same one that Stefan Verstappen has in mind, but we will find out when he joins us next. The Survivalist, right here on The Richard Syrett Show. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Richard Syrett Show on Newstalk Saga 960 AM.
The Survivalist on The Richard Syrett Show.
Time to prepare. Before the lights go out, folks. Before all hell breaks loose. Store up on essentials. Stefan Verstappen is our emergency preparedness expert, the author of The Art of Urban Survival, ChinaStrategies.com, and FormingCommunities.com. Stefan, welcome back. How was your weekend?
It was pretty good, Richard. How was yours?
Very well, very good. Went to the Honda Indy and did a little bit of work, but no, good time was had by all. Thank you.
You were racing?
I'm always racing. Yeah, no, I was part of the pit crew. That's took my 15-year-old boys, and they had a great time.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
What 15-year-old doesn't love fast cars?
Yeah, I used to sell popcorn at the Pinecrest Speedway when I was 12.
There you go. Memories. All right. Now, I was saying, I was talking about the old neighborhood watch program, and we used to see these signs. You'd walk around in somebody's neighborhood, you'd see a little cardboard sign in their front window that said that they were a member of the neighborhood watch program. Are you talking about the same type of neighborhood watch program, or is this something different?
No, it's the same neighborhood watch program, but I think you're confusing it with Block Parent. Because neighborhood watch, you don't really want to put a sign in your window, because that will alert criminals that you're keeping an eye on things, and you don't want the criminals to target you. So Block Parent is a really good organization as well. And Block Parents will put a sign in their window that says Block Parent, and that's for children that are lost or injured, or they're afraid, or their parents have disappeared and left them alone, and they want somewhere to go that's safe. Then they know, Uncle Bob's house 3 doors down, he's a Block Parent. You can go there and he'll take you in and he'll look for your parents, and if need be, report it to the police. Neighborhood watch is different in that you don't actually open your home to people. And also, it's not to be confused with any kind of vigilante type organizations such as Citizens on Patrol or the Guardian Angels that they had there in New York City for a while. So you do not get involved in crime stopping yourself. What it is an association of neighbors. You set up an organization, you set up communications, you work fairly closely with the local police department, and your job is merely to keep an eye on things. When you see things that aren't right, then you will have a number to call, usually Crime Stoppers. Or if it seems to be more serious than that, then you can call 911. So where I sit here, my office is in my bedroom. My bedroom is in my office, one or the other. And I look out the window, and I look out onto all the buildings in front of me, and I see everything that's going on around here. And now if I were to see somebody that I don't recognize, and he looks like he's breaking through the window of my neighbor's house, then that's when I call 911. And so it's a way of keeping the community safe. And it's actually a very effective program. I just read a case study, and it's in my upcoming book, The Complete Guide to Forming Communities, a case study out of Edinburgh. And this gentleman, he was a warehouse worker. He was, middle-aged. The neighborhood he was living in was getting run down, like so many neighborhoods are. The shops are closed down. The warehouses are empty. The seniors that live in that neighborhood were starting to get nervous about walking along the street at night. There was more graffiti and vandalism and open drug dealing on the streets. And he formed a community watch program, and he got to know all his neighbors. And here's one of the key components of doing something like this. One of the first things you need to do when you form a neighborhood watch community is get to know your neighbors. Now, Richard, you and I have talked about this. We know how important it is to form a community to survive what's coming. And to me, it doesn't really matter what kind of community you form. I would personally like everybody to form a survivalist community where, everybody's armed and medically trained and has 2 years supply of food and all that. You know what? I've tried for 10 years. I know other people have tried for many, many years to form such a community. Ain't happening. I know of only one community that started off that way, and that's my friends there in Arizona. Nobody else can do it because it scares too many people. You can't go to your neighbor and say, look, we're facing a grand famine here. There's going to be total chaos and the collapse of civilization. Let's get together and survive this. First of all, they think you're a conspiracy theorist, and then you're paranoid. And
right. Yeah, it is scary. It's like, hey, come on over to our house and let's plan for the end of the world. And don't forget, we have bridge on Saturday. It's just, it's not particularly savory.
No, but what I tell people is, it's Sun Tzu in his book, The Art of War, says this: you put your army in danger, and they will fight harder together. But first of all, you need the army, so you need some kind of community, even something as innocent as a homeschooling community. Because you belong to a homeschooling community, that if things really start to get bad, you can call the other members of that community and say, listen, we're running low on food. We'd like to barter. I got extra rice. Do you have any eggs? Do we have any vegetables? Do we have any medicine? And you know that you can rely on those people to do what they can do. Even though they're not trained for it, even though you didn't form the community with that in mind, once things start to get really ugly, you'll be able to, at least have some people that right, that you already work with, that you can contact and say, what can we do to
Okay,
together?
Stefan, I got to jump in here. We're going to take a time out. We'll come back and continue to discuss forming a neighborhood watch program. Stefan Verstappen, emergency preparedness expert, author of The Art of Urban Survival, The Survivalist, right here on The Richard Syrett Show. More in a moment.
Back to the conversation on The Richard Syrett Show. News Talk, Saga 960 AM.
We're talking about forming neighborhood watch communities or programs. And Stefan Verstappen is with us, the author of The Art of Urban Survival, The Art of Urban Survival, ChinaStrategies.com, and FormingCommunities.com, the websites, neighborhood watch programs. So you were talking about this case study
in Edinburgh.
In Edinburgh, yeah, the neighborhood was kind of going downhill, like the Esplanade in Toronto, but that's another story. Anyway.
Oh, really? I used to like the Esplanade. I used to go there all the time. Anyways, yeah, so that happens, but it was a great success. What they did was first of all, they made the people feel safer. They petitioned to the police department to offer more street patrols, more police cars to come and patrol the neighborhood. And then they got the city to install more street lights, more lighting. Then they got volunteer organizations to go around and clean up all the graffiti and to board up all the broken windows in the old warehouses. And because all the people started to get to know each other, because now they're working together, so you know who your neighbors are, that people felt safer to go out onto the streets, and so they were able to bring this community from the brink of disaster back to where it was. And they even got the city to put in landscaping, and so they could take pride in the community, plant flower pots and things like that. So it's more than just being like a snitch. It's working together with the community to make it safer and happier and healthier for everybody involved. So it's really a good program, and it's very simple to start. Just print up some flyers and hand it out to your neighbors, okay? Try and get about 20, 30 people together in your area. To do this, you may have to knock on some doors and introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Richard Syrett. I'm thinking of setting up a neighborhood watch community in our neighborhood, which is 2-3 blocks, whatever it is. And would you be interested in coming to a meeting? Then we schedule a meeting. Here we have the Canadian Legion. They have meeting rooms. I can probably get one for no cost at all for something that's a civic duty. The local police department will have a coordinator. It's a neighborhood watch coordinator, and they'll work with you. And they'll send somebody to your meeting, and they'll explain how it all works. They'll give you like a 1 hour, it's about an hour, hour and a half maximum seminar on how to report crime and what to look for and what phone numbers to call, when to call 911 and when to call Crime Stoppers, depending on the situation. They'll also tell you how to harden your targets. Meaning your home, how to make sure your home is safe as well, the locks that you should do, whether or not you should remove some of the bushes around the front door. So you'll get you'll get some training, you'll get a way of communicating with the police and with the other members of the neighborhood watch. When I lived there in Etobicoke, in Mimico, there was a neighborhood watch that had a Facebook page, which was really quite helpful. You go on that Facebook page, and they will post alerts and pictures of things that went on in the neighborhood that you would never hear about on the news or anything like that. For example, there was some gentleman running around Hyde Park that was going after the girls and harassing them sexually, and they had a photo of him. So I lived very close to Hyde Park. I went there often, and I kept an eye out for this guy. I know what he looks like. If I saw him, I would call the police and say, listen, this is the guy everybody's looking for. This is, to get these people off the streets. So it's a good idea. Now, this is in times of peace, okay? So you are just trying to make it a better neighborhood. You get to know your neighbors. You get to do a little bit of civic improvement, all great stuff. Now, what is going to happen? Because last week we talked about the dangers we face, the first one being a mass famine. And that's why we talked about food co-ops and growing co-ops so that you can start to grow your own food. And the next big danger is going to be crime. If we do face a famine and if we do face a financial collapse, then crime will go through the roof. Crime is already increasing all over North America, the United States, Canada. Crime is already increasing as it is. We haven't even gotten to the worst of it yet. Now, when it does get down to the worst, police won't be there. Many studies have been done to show and prove decisively since the 1960s that police do not prevent crime. Police are only a deterrent to criminals who may think twice because if they got caught and then they get sentenced. But police actually don't stop crime. Even if you double the number of street patrols, it usually doesn't make any difference. And if we are looking at a situation where the police won't, they can hardly do anything right now. And during a chaos, a social upheaval, where are they going to be? They can't do anything now. What are they going to do then? So it's going to be up to you to protect yourself and to protect your community. Now, if you've already formed a neighborhood watch and everything goes to pot, then that neighborhood watch morphs, it adapts, it evolves into a vigilante group, okay? Then, because you can't expect the police to come, then we have a group of guys. You already know them through the neighborhood watch. You try and select the toughest men in the group, and you form your own vigilante police service. And by the way, the very first police force in North America was established in Boston in 1631, and they were called the Watchers, and they were just that. They were a local community vigilantes that would stop crime. And so we can go back to what our ancestors did, form our own police forces. In a sense, it's a police force. And we can use that to protect our communities.
There you go. All right. Great advice once again from Stefan Verstappen, the author of The Art of Urban Survival, ChinaStrategies.com and FormingCommunities.com. Stefan, you have a great rest of the week. We'll be back on Monday to discuss more.
Great. Thanks, Richard. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.